Hey y'all, I am back today to share one of my stories. I've been sharing yours lately, so this is kind of weird territory, but I am so excited to share this very creepy experience that I have had for the past few years with you guys and tell you the story of how I acquired one of my now most prized possessions. So, without further ado, let's get into the story of my very haunted painting, or copy of a painting. So one day I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, as one does, looking through, I think, just like the home decor section. You really, if you go on Facebook Marketplace, you are going with either no thought in your head or the thought of a couch. There is no in between. Those are the two reasons you go on Facebook Marketplace. So anyways, I'm just scrolling, it was mine and my husband's day off, so we were just looking on Marketplace, and I scroll past this painting. It's of this little girl with red hair. And I was like, I need this painting. It was like a life or death situation. I have never felt so drawn to an object. That's a lie. This is one of the objects that I have felt extremely drawn to. I was like, I have to have it. It needs to be mine. So I go to my husband and I'm like, we need this in our house. We need this. And of course he was like, okay, well, message the seller. It was literally $20. Which is crazy, okay? It is crazy for what it was that it was $20. But I messaged the seller. We actually can meet up right then. It's like 40 minutes away where they were wanting to meet. So we leave immediately, stop at the bank, grab a crisp $20 bill, and go to the next town over and pick up my painting. Now, activities started immediately as soon as I brought this painting into the house, and I do want to tell you guys all of those stories, show you things I've captured on camera, but first I want to go into the history of the actual painting itself because it's interesting. Disclaimer, I am by no means claiming that the actual girl that was inspired the painting is haunting my copy. If Irene was going to haunt a copy, I'm pretty sure she would choose the original one that's away in a museum somewhere. I'm not claiming that whatsoever. I got cooked for that on TikTok. And another thing that I got cooked for saying on TikTok is I didn't specify that this was a copy. If I could point right there, she's literally hanging right there. So if I point, I didn't specify that this was a copy. I didn't know I needed to. I didn't think anyone would just assume that I bought a Renoir, especially for $20. But I have a copy of a Renoir, and I don't think the actual girl's haunting the painting. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the history of the Little Irene painting. So the name of it is actually pretty long, and I'm worried I will butcher her name, but I will put it on the screen. Most people call the painting Little Irene or the girl with the blue ribbon. There's also another painting called Pink and Blue that is of Irene's siblings. So I actually really need to buy that one so that they're together. So when I came across the painting, I'm not really familiar very much with big artwork unless it's Van Gogh. I could spot any Van Gogh a mile away because I love Van Gogh, but I wasn't really familiar with Renoir. So I didn't look up this painting until activity started in my house, and I actually just Googled painting of little girl with red hair with a blue ribbon, and Irene popped right up, gave me her name and the history of the painting and of Irene and her family. So like I said, Little Irene is a Renoir original. He was a very, very, very famous painter, and he was actually commissioned by Irene's father. Irene's family was wealthy, okay? They were wealthy bankers, and he was commissioned by her father to paint Irene and to paint the siblings, but he hated the painting of Irene. He put it in the servants' quarters so he did not have to look at it, and he didn't pay Renoir for a while because he hated it so much. And listen, the man's not here to defend himself, so I'm gonna keep what I say limited, but have you no taste? Have you no taste? So anyways, painting's painted. Irene was a little girl when it was painted, obviously, and now fast forward, Irene is grown up, married with 2 children. So Irene would actually fall in love with the stable boy while she was already married to her first husband, leave that husband, get with the stable boy, marry him, have another child, which would be her third, and then divorce the stable boy. But I want to talk about Irene's 3 children. So her son that she had in her first marriage actually became a pilot, but not just any pilot, a fighter pilot in World War II, where he would unfortunately lose his life. Irene's daughter that she had with her first husband would grow up and make a beautiful, loving family of her own, but that would come to a tragic end due to the fact that they were Jewish during World War II. Irene's third child that she had with the stable boy, she grew up, had her own private life. I don't know what she's doing now, but I hope she is thriving. Like I said, Irene's daughter's family, her first daughter, lost their lives during World War II because they were Jewish. Irene was also Jewish. She actually fled to Paris and hid under an Italian name to be safe. And she stayed in Paris until she passed away in 1963. And she lived to the ripe age of 91. Many artworks were stolen during World War II, and Little Irene and Pink and Blue were no exceptions to this. They actually weren't recovered until 1946, and they were given their rightful title as masterpieces. Now, I don't know per se about Pink and Blue, but I can vouch for Little Irene because I notice anything about her because I just love the painting so much. That painting has been referenced in many pop culture situations. I was watching the Golden Girls one day, and I'm sure you've seen the Golden Girls. Everyone's seen it. But if you haven't, one of the characters, one of the main women, Blanche Devereaux, she works in a museum. And there was a scene, I think it was the episode where Dorothy gets the job at the museum as well, but they're in the office talking, and just in the back is the painting of Little Irene. And I was like, is that Irene? Is that Irene? Is Irene on the Golden Girls? So that was the history of the actual painting. Now let's get into the happenings of my copy. Now, like I said, I am not claiming that Irene herself is haunting my copy. I can almost guarantee you she is not. But I have had a lot of mediums and people that are very gifted, and myself who also has abilities, look into this painting, and there is a little girl attached to this painting. How, what, where, when, or why, I don't know, but she is, and she's very playful, and she really likes attention. So let's get into the first experience I had up until the most recent one. So this painting is heavy, okay? If you put it on the wall, like, it should stay straight. You know what I mean? It's not like off balance. But no matter what we put this painting on the wall with, or how many of those things we use, it tilts. When we first got it, it was consistently tilted. Things in our home soon began to move around or would go missing altogether. There are shirts that I still cannot find, and that happened for a while. And eventually I just kept getting this feeling of, I don't think she likes where she is, because we had her in the dining room, but in a separate, like in the corner on the wall. And one day I was just like, we should move her. So there is a spot between our bathroom door right here and our kitchen, and there's just like a little wall space, and we hung her up right at that space, and things seemed to chill out, for us at least, after that point. But one of the like breaking points for me, like with this painting, I was like, something's definitely wrong. When you first walk into our house, there's like what I call a memory wall. It has pictures of relatives. It has like our wedding certificate, stuff like that. So you're greeted with that when you walk in, and it has always been like that. We've always had a memory wall at our front door, and everything's been sturdy. Well, one day I'm going to leave the house, and I turn to look at our memory wall, and all of the pictures are tilted just like Irene tilts. And it's just the pictures of relatives, like the picture of the marriage certificate, and I actually don't think we were married at this point, but the pictures that weren't of faces were not tilted, they were straight. And I also had another occurrence where I used to draw like these things on poster boards, and I hung them up on my living room wall, and they were like, they had fallen down in a weird way, and I'll post pictures of all of this in this video, but it was just so weird. But anyways, after we moved her and we started saying hello to her, like acknowledging her, smiling at her when we walked past, activity got pretty chill for us. Now, I can't say the same for people who came into our home to visit. we tell everyone that comes into our home to say hello to Irene. Some people have brought her little gifts, like little pennies or buttons or things like that. But usually some people will touch her frame, say hello, acknowledge her, things like that. When people don't do that, we notice that those people have things that go missing. She always tilts while they're here. She will tilt. People have had nightmares about her after they left here. Those are only the people that were just like blatantly rude to her. If you're rude to her, you don't come back. You don't, why are you doing that? What are you doing? Another occurrence that happened was we would see her facial expressions change a lot. And I would be looking at her and just like watch her scowl. Like that was the thing that always, she's kind of expressionless. She honestly looks a little bit sad, but sometimes she just would scowl and I would watch that expression change on the painting. And one day I was filming for TikTok, telling the story about her, and I had a picture of her in the corner of the screen. And for some reason, the picture shifted like a little bit below it, but when it shifted, it was still the same picture, but she was scowling. And it was the scariest thing. I'll insert that. But yeah, that's I think the most recent thing that happened. She does interact with my cats, I believe, because I have especially my one of my male cats, his name's Brewer. He will just sit and stare at the painting, and a few of the other cats will like seemingly play with nothing in front of the painting. So I think she's playing with the cats. I think she likes the cats, which makes me happy. But yeah, that is pretty much everything. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I used to go live on TikTok and live stream her overnight. I can always do that again if you guys would like. If you'd like to follow me on TikTok, we can take like a poll or something. But that was really fun, and people would see her expression change and it would be really creepy. But yeah, that is all for me today. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm sure Irene enjoyed me talking about all the ways that she scared me when she first got here. I hope you guys enjoyed the story.